So I was called into a meeting, 10 a.m. one morning, with my boss to get my salary review and my bonus. And a bit of a shock when I walked into the meeting, and in the meeting already was the head of HR. I was being fired, and it came as a real shock. Those of you who have been through this, it's a real shock. I was not prepared for it. I was not prepared for it. So I was faced with this situation. What am I going to do? So one of the benefits I had is that I had this training around developing mindset. Does anyone understand the work of Carol Dweck? She talks about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Has anybody understood this? Okay, I really encourage you to take a look at this. So I've done this training. And so a growth mindset says that really in terms of career, that we're not fixed in what we can do. That our skills and our abilities are our starting point, but we can really create new opportunities for ourselves. So I applied this approach. For me, it happened to be looking back and saying, well, okay, what am I going to do? And I asked myself a couple of questions. What is that thing that I've done where I've really truly added value? I really want you to encourage you in your own careers, whether you're advancing in your current company or you'll be moving to a new company. Think about the value that you add. Think about the value. So in my case, I peeled back the onion, and it only applies to me, and I said, the thing that really I think I knew how to do well was to look at organizations that were having a large program of change that was failing and get it back on track. So I decided to start a consulting business based around that, but that thing's just around me. I also did some give back. I formed a networking group, and it was called Experienced Professionals in Transition. And it was focused on people who were struggling somewhat in finding their next role. So I noticed there that at any one point in time, there is a significant number of people who are struggling to find their next career if they find themselves out looking for a job. There's a significant number. And they have, like in this room here, immense deep experience in sales process, in procurement, in IT, in marketing, in distribution, in sourcing, in operations, in HR. Amazing experience, which is sometimes going to waste. At the same time, I was also networking with early stage and startup companies in New York, and I was looking to see maybe they could buy some of my consulting services. And I noticed that many of these startup founders and growth stage company founders were struggling with some really basic things. Like they were saying that at networking meetings I was going to, Mike, do you know anybody who knows how to source high-end hotel furnishings from Chinese manufacturers? And I said, in my networking group, I had like 250 people join this networking group. So I started talking about it. And these meetings came up to me and said, Mike, could you really find these people? Because it's hard to find. So I realized there was a two-sided marketplace that was underserved. So now I'm doing my own startup. So my current business is to connect experienced professionals with early stage companies and growth stage companies that could really use that experience for success, and that's what I'm doing. But what I want to talk to you about is what I learned, because this is really important. So I'm going to cover 4 things. So if you're looking to advance in your current company, or whether you're facing a transition, either involuntary, as in my case, or voluntary, 4 things you should do. First of all, and this is a bit different from the old polish up your resume and polish up your bio, identify this question. So I really love what some of the earlier speakers were talking about value. What is your unique value proposition? What is your unique value proposition as you, not your role in your company, you? And those of you, anyone here who's in sales, who's a sales person? Okay, you'll understand this much better than those of us who, I wasn't in sales, so this was sort of a bit new to me. And 2 questions I want you to ask, and I want you to write these down. I want you to write these 2 questions down. First question is, what problems do you solve at companies? What problems do you solve at companies? Second question, what is that thing that you're so passionate about related to your work or your professional experience that you would almost do for nothing? Like it gives you so much reward, it gives you so much pleasure to do. It's really a passionate thing. Think about what that thing is and write that down. What is that thing you're so passionate about that you almost do for free? Those 2 questions will help you get to your unique value proposition. So mine was, I worked out that what I really did well was help teams that had some sort of big project that was failing, such as a product launch, a big IT project, a reorganization that was failing, working with the teams to get it back on track. That was mine. Each one of you has your own. And I want you to think about this. Every single one of you has an absolutely unique value proposition. There is nobody else in the world that has your exact level of personal and professional experience and business and work experience. So second thing is, when you're looking for that next role, don't look on job boards. Job boards are the worst place to find your next role. Networking is absolutely key to what you're doing, and I'm going to come back to that. On most job boards, close to half the roles are already filled. And those of you who work in who works in HR here? Anybody works in HR? Okay, a few. You'll know that many companies already have the role worked out, and they post the job on a job board because company policy requires it. So a lot of the jobs on job boards are already filled. The second are posted by recruiters looking to gather resumes for their own Rolodex. Very bad thing. I'm going to come back to networking as a key way to solve your next role. Thirdly, this is something that may be quite new. I really encourage you right now is start a personal branding journey. This is not about the brand of the companies you work with, it's about your own personal brand. And how do you do that? And why is it? Because you need ways for you to stand out from the crowd, right? And this gets back to my first point about unique value proposition, is think about that thing which you uniquely know and start sharing it with your target community. Start sharing it with the companies you want to work with or the clients you want to gain. Give back, give valuable content about that thing that you know. So LinkedIn is a really big part of that. Giving speeches like this, writing a book. But one of the easiest places on social media, identify who your target market is, grow your network through things like LinkedIn, and start publishing content. Start putting content out there about that thing that you know. It's amazing what that will do. I started that with my company. I was amazed at what resources it brought to me. And it's basically free to do. It's really content marketing. So I really encourage you to do that. It's an absolutely unique opportunity and a greenfield site for you to stand out. So start on a personal branding journey. If you want to know more about what it is, you can speak to me later. But LinkedIn is one place. That means posting content about this subject matter that you know passionately about. Comment on other people's content, but don't just say, yeah, nice comment. Think about adding some piece of value. It is amazing what that will do for you. And lastly, my fourth point is, when you're looking at a job search process, don't approach it like the traditional hiring process would suggest. The traditional hiring process is broken. The traditional hiring process is broken, it does not work. And what's that? That's the process of, a company has a need, so they convert the need into a job description, they post it on the job site. People then see the job and they start uploading their resume, they massively massage their resume to make it look like a job description. And in my research for this, I spoke with hundreds of people who are candidates, job hiring managers and recruiters, and they all said the current hiring process is broken. Treat your job search like the sales process. Identify what you're uniquely valuable at, what you uniquely know. Find companies that have the problems that you can solve. And network, network, and network. Sure, you may have to at some point apply for a job on a job board, but there are 4 key things that I've learned, around your job search. I really highly encourage you to do this, and if you do so, you will really, really rock your next job search, whether that's internally with the companies you're working with or with your next company.